Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hey there! Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back, guys. And this is going to be just a quick little update on a few things, including one that does seem very interesting. We want to, again, thank everybody that's supporting us over on Patreon. We couldn't do it without you guys. Exclusive videos go up there several times a week.
Indeed. Check this one out. This one was pretty interesting.
Yeah, some good comments over there. And here you go. So I saw some unusual movement. Again, we are not Monkeyworks. Monkeyworks does nothing but this. Tracking flight movements. He usually does, I think it's one video a week or a couple videos a week, usually on Fridays, where he gives you like an update on unusual flight movements, military activity in depth. But I just noticed that there's quite a few planes and helicopters that are military, quite a few of them without call signs going, and they seem to be really looking for something intently. Like you could see this right here. So this is U.S. military C-30J Super Hercules, and it's just circling this area, going back and forth, and it's not the only one. That's interesting. Right along the coastlines, and a lot of these also, they're not giving you their flight paths. This one, they're giving us a little flight path here. Let's see what this one is. Okay, this is something a little different. But there's just this activity along the coastline in mostly the northeastern area of the U.S. That just hits me as weird, and it's not letting me scroll out. Let's see if I can go out this old-fashioned way there. Also over and around the Delmarva Peninsula, of course, we have D.C. and Baltimore over in this area. As I'm not getting a good response here. There we go. Everything is moving really slow all of a sudden. Empty call sign like this one here, this helicopter. A lot of times they don't want to say who they are when they're on a military mission. And, right now this is really not cooperating with me. Maybe because there's something actually to this. Yeah, again, registration not available. We just know it belongs to the military. And there seems to be a lot of activity. And I've seen comments on some forums where people were saying Russian subs, or the Russian subs off the coast. Just putting together conjecture, but certainly it seems that they are watching something along the coastline pretty intently. The total number of aircraft, when I looked at it, was around 200 military. For this time of day, a little bit high, but not unusual. I wouldn't say unusual for these times. But the flights that just seem to be hanging out and scanning the coastline, along with all this mass of ones with empty call signals, is a little curious. Do you have any... Okay, there we go. Now it's starting to move again. It was like locked up for me there. That looks like a fighter. It's a Harrier jet. Right along the coast. What you picking up, Sen?
I'm picking up there's been reports of something, and they're being told to go out there and look. So they're very valid reports. They're concerning reports, but I'm not getting the details of those reports. Of course not, because I don't think they are either. I think this is something very, very interesting and curious, and some people are sent out there to take a peek, and basically don't back down until you give me some answers. That's the energy that I'm picking up.
Well, you're giving me a lot more than what I'm getting from this, except for the fact that this does look unusual. Again, we're not like Monkeyworks, where this is what he does constantly. I look at this a few times a week, and really just when I get a inkling or an itch that something feels a little bit off. And now is one of those times. And in these times too, we're so close to things really, really kicking off. So we are seeing some over here that are just circling off the California coast as well. Very interesting. Again, a lot with no data. They're hiding who they are. And that makes me even more suspicious. You will see it. I do tend to watch Monkey Works, I'd say once a week, pop in and catch his broadcast and see what he's seeing. Because this is just what he does. There are areas that will have trainers, like over here. This is a military base, and there'll be a lot of training flights and stuff. But what we're seeing is curious and feels, well, in these times, you want to make note of these things. Nothing to panic over, but we don't really know what we're seeing here. There's definitely a lot of coastal activity and a lot of what looks to be scanning the coastlines, especially I'm seeing most of it on the East Coast. So yeah, absolutely. Probably some sort of credible threat, I think we could deduce from this.
I agree 100%.
Okay. And in these times, hey, it's just where we are. And here you have the commander of Ansarallah officially announces that ships linked with Israel will be prevented from even crossing through the Indian Ocean and into the Cape of Good Hope. And not just the Red and Arabian Seas and the Gulf of Aden. In other words, this is, as it says, it's a huge escalation. It's pretty much getting to the point of all-out war is really what we have going on. There's calls for an immediate vote in Israel to perhaps get Netanyahu out there, because he is going to lead to even more death and destruction that he has already done.
Well, that's really kind of scary because, I mean, the last time right before he was thrown out of there, look what happened.
Yeah, don't forget, the people were in the streets. Israel's got like 7 million people, if I'm remembering right. And 1 million people were in the streets just because they didn't want him there. And then you have the whole thing hit off and start. And when you're in a state of war, then all the usual procedures go out the window. So when martial law is declared here in the U.S., which I think is in the future, if they are able to get that out before our grid goes down, it will be a martial law type of situation that we're going to have to probably get used to for a while. And here you see there is a report of a ship being attacked. This is a commercial vessel being attacked by Yemen over there as well. And we also have had Chinese, Iranian, Russian vessels in the general area doing routine, so they say, exercises. You have the U.S. and U.K. and France, and it's a mess as Russia's now moving their nuclear weapons to Belarus. They announced it in June of last year that they were going to, but now they are actually on the move. And then you have calls for the NATO to send new laser weapons into Ukraine. They also released that at least 6,000 foreign troops have died fighting on the Ukrainian side. At least 6,000 people, mostly from NATO countries, have died in the Ukrainian war. The real numbers we'll never know. And meanwhile, society is breaking down and getting more crazy. Here's a man armed with a machete in Lancaster, California. And Cindy just picked up, he wanted to, leave the world, and he decided he was going to leave it via COP, and he did. So it's just crazy out there. This is, again, why you don't want to be in the bigger cities, if possible. This person, Joyce Philippe, was here on the subway, and a man was fatally shot inside the Hoyt-Schemerhorn subway station in Brooklyn. And everybody hits the deck. I'll have the links for you guys. Meanwhile, a 400% increase in dengue fever in Brazil. And you can see Reuters is putting out, as the temperatures rise, Brazil ramps up efforts to combat dengue because they're blaming it on climate change and global warming. And meanwhile, there's a lot of people that immediately come back with, oh, well, you mean it has nothing to do with those GMO mosquitoes released by Gil Bates? Yeah, tell us another one. Do you have a bridge for sale in Brooklyn, perchance?
All this is a test.
It's a IQ test, and humanity needs to keep improving. And meanwhile, fumigation going on. It's just this is why we're gonna have different things to combat all over the world. People are starting to starve to death in Gaza. Starve to death as more and more cases of food relief being dropped off. The people run for it, and they get shot at and shot up. And so what you have is starvation taking effect. And unfortunately, you have prophecies being fulfilled. So many of Nostradamus' prophecies seem to be going down exactly as he said right now at this point in time. Alois Ermiler as well. And there's a Polish psychic that our friend Peter in Poland keeps track of. His channel, he doesn't speak English per se when he's giving his predictions. He has been in a lot of agreement, it seems like. Whenever we talk to Peter, it seems like him and what we get are very, very similar. And so he was picking up on some sort of major, at least a major false flag type event, but major events happening in April. And he does talk about the fact that there's a war coming, that it almost seems like it cannot be stopped, that it has to come to pass. I still always am holding out hope that we could wake up enough people to really, really change things. But please do send your prayers and best intentions to everybody that's suffering in Gaza, as they have in their plans to turn so much of NATO into one big Gaza.
It is. It's really, really sad. And I think, if that's what we're called to do, is send our energy, then please, please do that.
And it is at the same time, it's causing pain and suffering everywhere. And in humanity in general, we have to realize we're all part of one big planet that needs to not compete as much as to cooperate and work together. And this kind of feels wrong. I mean, I don't know about Crocs on a kitty, but it's a cute look, but there's just something that feels like this should be rated PG-13.
Well, this poor kitty, they don't look comfortable at all.
No, they don't. But literally, I guess you could kind of say Puss in Boots, right?
Whoops. Yep.
Kitty and Crocs.
Kitty and Crocs.
Thanks for your support, guys. Stay prepared out there. Much love and namaste.
Namaste.